if you're saying one person is an empath, everybody's an empath. Hello, it's Al Dene here. I'm just going to wait for a few people to get on. We are talking today about escaping the empath trap. So basically, if you are someone who you consider yourself an empath and you hear a lot of information about how you're kind of stuck taking other people's emotions or taking it on, or it's easy, or you got to figure out ways to fix that. Well, I'm going to give you some spiritual knowledge here that will help you in the background so you understand what's going on. And this is pretty important stuff because I see that a lot of people just I haven't seen this explained anywhere. It's very important to me, and when I explain it to someone, like some light bulbs go on. It's like I'm turning on light switches and then they understand it. So if you're looking for a healer in your life, I'll explain a little bit what happens when you find a good healer or where you find one that's not so good. And so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you what I call the heart scale. So this is a scale where you have the frequencies of how much your heart is healed. So this bliss area is more mastery. Okay, so we'll call that, let's get in here. The top is the mastery. And what happens is if you meet someone who's at that level, who has that high level of energy, they can help you very quickly. At that level of love, because you're made of pure love, what happens is the healing transfers without much speaking. It's like the information is there. And if you're going to go down the scale, so let's say I put dark arts. So someone is using things to put on people to get them to do something. That's like darker energies. It's heavier energy, a lower frequency, and it's going to drag you down. So when you are looking for a healer, you are looking for someone who's more at the top of the scale. So I'm hoping that makes sense. Just checking to see if there's any. Yeah. So what happens is you want to be at the top of the scale. So I'm going to explain the scale a little bit more. Let's say you're working at a corporation and you have water cooler talk, or I'll call it gossip. Gossip is a low-level frequency. It's still higher than someone who's in the dark arts, but it's still talking with someone who's connecting with you at a lower level. And a healer does the same thing. A healer, when they do a healing for you, they're connecting at the highest level possible they can. So sometimes, so getting back to the water cooler talk, that's a lower level. And when you connect with that frequency, you take it home and you carry it with you. So if you're going to take home something and carry it with you, why not carry something at a higher level? That's what I'm trying to point out here. That makes all the difference in you advancing and you getting out of what I call the empath trap. Is you want to get the highest vibration possible, the cleanest vibration possible. And I'm just going to give you a little story. If you are playing tennis, for example, and you're going to play against someone who is not as good as you, so you're going to keep winning, they are not going to show you anything. They're going to show you can win. But if you go play with someone who's accomplished more than you, who's has a capacity to win every time, and who's willing to show you how you could start winning, that is at a higher level, the mastery level, that bliss level, I call it. So you always want to find someone, if you're looking for a healer, find someone who has good reviews and who also has experience doing the things you want to do. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow, I'm going to talk about your baseline. So you might want to just do a like for the video, or whatever platform you're on right now, do a like, or just remember, like tomorrow I'll be doing the next one, the baseline. So the baseline is where you fit along this love matrix. Remember, so for those who are just joining, this is 100% love at the highest part. That is the mastery part. And the lower level, someone doing dark arts, they think they're masters, but they're masters of a lower level. So in other words, they're using their life force energy. They're using their life force energy to do the things they are doing to control. At this higher level, you're not using your life force energy, and there's different levels of bliss. So the higher you get along that scale of bliss, the more you become pure love, the less you need to control, the more you allow, the more you have the capacity to receive, the more you have the capacity to give. As you go down, that's the more you have the capacity to control, the more you're living out of fear, the more you're working out of fear. So find a healer who works at the level of transmission and the highest transmission. So let me explain that. Transmission, for those who joined later on, is, so I'll give an example of, let's say, this is how I learned about it, because I went to Asia a few years ago, and I've been going back and forth every year. And I went to different countries and I learned about transmission. In North America, we are kind of shut down from the healing arts a lot. And I know we do a lot of it here, but there's a different level of mastery that comes with, let's say, a family lineage who's been doing it for a long time. It doesn't mean they do everything perfect, but there's some things they've really mastered well. And when you are seeing that mastery, that energy is vibrating at such a high level, it heals you very fast. It heals you very quickly. So you are looking for people who have a mastery, and a mastery in what you're trying to overcome. So I have escaped the empath trap. I have a course called Renegade Healer. You can look it up in my bio. Go to Learn Spiritual Wellbeing, look it up and check it out. Maybe that's something that interests you. You're looking for that transmission because that's what's going to help raise your vibration when you do a healing. So if you're trying to do it yourself, again, you want to find the people, like I was saying, when you play tennis, go play with someone who is better than you and who is open to showing you on how to get better. That is the kind of person you want, not someone who's going to do all the healing for you. It's someone that's going to help you become sovereign, become independent. Let me see what else. Yeah. So at the bottom, I talked about people who do stuff at the bottom. I was saying they're more in fear, but there's more attachment. There's more attachment. At the top, there's less attachment. People are going to give you the information if you take steps and show up. They will give you the information to whatever you need. But at the bottom level, it's more like a take. They'll give you the information, but they're there to take more. And yeah, so the last thing I want to talk about today, like I said, tomorrow is going to be about baseline. Where is your baseline and how you determine where you're going to go up and down, where you fit on that scale. So we are talking about, this is very important when you do get a healing. If you're going to get a healing at a lower level from someone who's connected and using lower level energies, they are stuck in a drama loop. They are stuck in a story, okay? You got different stories at different frequencies, and a lot of them are going on at the same time, okay? You want the story at the highest frequency, and the reason for that is the highest frequency trumps the lower ones. It heals with intelligence. It heals at the highest level. There's less negotiation. It's much quicker. So the higher level you have, the less drama you will have, and the less of a story you will have, and you will heal quicker. I'm hoping that makes sense. All right, here's what we have, the heart scale. The heart scale is basically the frequency of love, and you are made of 100% love. We are all healing back to where we were. Some are healing back faster. Some are doing it this lifetime. Some are going to take many lifetimes. A lot of us, it's taken hundreds, thousands, I don't know if it's millions lifetimes across the universe, whatever. We are healing back and you're getting more and more energy. But there's something I call the empath trap. And it's like people who have become really popular talking about being an empath. Well, a natural part of healing, a natural part when your filters come down and when you have awakening, is to be able to feel more. So what was always there, you're feeling it more. And along with feeling more, you have feeling too much or it's hurting too much, is because there's wounds at different levels of frequency. You're working at those wounds at different levels. That's what's happening. No one is, if you're saying one person is an empath, everybody's an empath. Everybody is a spirit. Everybody has the ability to absorb. Not everybody is aware of it. Not everybody has those walls down so they can take it. So I'm saying, let's get out of that empath trap. Let's know, there's a little bit more to it than just that. You can heal yourself. And what I'm talking about is to find the right healer today. You can heal yourself at higher frequencies so it's quicker for you, so that you have the better tools because you're connecting at higher energy. Find someone who has spiritual mastery. And I was talking about, I didn't say it with these words, but it's basically your spiritual ecosystem. If you're hanging out with people who are doing things for you and are using lower level energies, whether you know it or not, you're going to be connected to those frequencies. You're going to be bound to those frequencies. So I suggest you don't do that. And if you did, well, that was just karma working itself out. Okay? If you're going in the right direction, if you are working with your heart and your heart is good, not everybody has a heart that's perfect, but you're still working to do your best, then don't worry about it. Everything will work itself out. Everything will heal. You want to find a healer who's at the level of spiritual mastery. All right. And and that's difficult. There's not many people who are Buddhas, but there's many people who have really mastered one part of what they're doing. And that's how you take it, like one chunk at a time. So if you're trying to get out of pain in a relationship, you find someone who is at a level of transmission for the relationships where their energy is really good, where their relationships flow well, and when they don't go well, they're able to recover. Those are the ones who can help you do what you need. Often they are the people who've gone through hell themselves because they understand what you're going through. All right. So if you connect with a healer, let's say at a mid frequency here. So it's not exact scale, right? There's the darker, heavier, and there's a lighter. This is the transmission, what I call it, the highest transmission is the best. Let's say you're connecting with someone halfway through. You're getting a story at that level. So if you're going to go down, the stories are worse, darker, and you go up, they're lighter. Eventually, there's no story. It's just information, it's just healing. All right. If you're at a story and you're like, well, how do I know what story is? How do I know if I'm choosing someone right? It comes down to whatever you've done has likely helped you so far, but if you're still stuck or you're stagnating, your vibration is not high enough, or the people you're connecting to, their vibration is not high enough, which means they're still connected to lower level energies. I know because I had a lot of healer friends. I did a lot of quantum healing. And when those people left my life, my energy went up. It's because I was supporting them. I've done a lot of healings. I've done over 10,000 hours of healing. And I know that this transmission happens. And it's not just by being around someone. You could go to a sacred area, like in Japan on Mount Kurama, where I was there and I had attunements, initiations. There are gates. There are spiritual gates. You feel them. Those gates are like a person. They're a being. And you're walking through and they look at your energy and they have the level of transmission. So you can go to Stonehenge, you can go to Sedona, you can go to a lot of places in the world and feel those energies and that transmission. But you can have that from people too. And that's what I call your spiritual ecosystem. We have to change our spiritual ecosystem if we are struggling, if we are not getting to the levels, if it almost look, and here's a beautiful one, It almost looks like I figured out, I'm at the end of it. I'm almost at the end of it. I'm going to heal this part, and then it continues. It means I'm not high enough. It continues because it's going to keep feeding, the universe will keep feeding me the same stuff until I vibrate higher than it. So if someone says, Al, I already healed that, why are we talking about this again? Well, you're up spiraling. So let's say you started off and it was here, the energy, the wound, okay, it was here, but then your vibration went up and there was still another part connected to it here. That's like what it means, spiraling up. You're healing, your vibration's getting wider, bigger. You're going up, it's getting bigger, but you're still healing along the way. Here the vibration is darker. It's lower, but it's a crappier vibration. Another way to know if you have a healer who can help you is just to look at their light. It doesn't mean you have to peer in their body. The universe, it's always sending you the information. Just go like, should I go to this person? And you might get a yes or no. So I'm going to tell you something. When I did this, I often got a yes. And then as soon as I started working with that person, I was like, no. And what happens is, at my level, my intuition at my level is telling me it's not 100% right. It gets better as you heal up, as your vibration goes up. That is part of healing. It's like kissing frogs. You're going to go through a lot of frogs as you go up. But if you recognize that, every time you meet someone, you do something with them, and it goes well, great. The things that didn't go well, what do you need to heal? It just brought it to light. That person was a mirror for you. It was a reflection for you. I'm following the energy of the story. I'm not going through the story. I'm following the energy so I can heal the most possible at the level of transmission. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about your baseline. It's very important. And make sure that you just like the video or whatever you do, whatever platform you're on, that when I go live tomorrow that you can watch it, okay? So I am going to say have a good day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.